Welcome to the Modise Network. President Cyril Ramaphosa took over the government in May on the promise of a new dawn. Within a short time, there are now calls for him to resign following what appears to be an ongoing battle with the public protector about sources of the donor funding that got him elected ANC president in 2017. Some of the information has been revealed in the media, leading to accusations that the president was beholden to big business interests. Ramaphosa is fighting off these accusations both inside the courts and inside the ANC at a time when South Africa is in an economic crisis which already is being felt through severe job losses. There are serious social tensions that have manifested increased violence and other crimes in communities. Repeated surveys show that South Africans want the government to lead on the economic front, but it appears to be constrained by political interests as evidenced in the Eskom matter. There is also a new controversial policy being considered by government. It's called the National Health Insurance. To understand how the government under President Cyril Ramaphosa intends dealing with these threats and risks, I'll be talking to the Minister in the Presidency, Mr. Jackson Mthembu, very shortly. But later in the show, I'll be having a discussion on the media freedoms that have now become the terrain of struggle. New terminology has entered the scene, with some journalists now being referred to as Stratcom and others receiving personal abuse from politicians. The South African National Editors Forum has taken the economic freedom fighters to court over such threats to journalists. I'll be talking to William Bird, Director at Media Monitoring Africa, and Samkelo Mukine, Executive Director at the Freedom of Expression Institute. But Jackson Mthembu is first. And to discuss political developments in the country and the role that the presidency is playing in fixing the country's problems, I'm joined by the Minister in the Presidency, Mr. Jackson Mthembu. And thank you very much, Minister, for joining us.
Thank you, Tim, for having us.
Let's start first with the controversial issues. Yep. The public protector, the court cases. It looks like there's some personal battle going on between the president and the public protector. What is the president's views of these court cases?
Well, we would have loved to be given time and space to do what we were elected to do. And we're elected to serve the people of our country, to deal with issues of unemployment, to deal with issues of growing the economy, and of course to, as we have always said, improve all the services that we give to our people, including housing, including social grounds, all of them. That's the work that we would have loved to be given space to do. So indeed, all these are just distractions that distract us from the work that we have to do as the presidency. But of course, they are now before courts, and maybe let's allow the courts to intervene on these matters.
But of course, there have been leaks of information about names of donors who contributed to the CR17 campaign in the ANC elections of December 2017. And those leaks have led to reports in the newspapers and some campaigns on social media, right? There was Ramaphosa leaks. Every weekend it looks like there has to be a negative story about the president. Ramaphosa leaks first, and then followed by Ramaphosa must fall. How does that affect not only the president, but the presidency when you see these things happening? And of course, the opposition parties, the EFF in particular, saying that they are going to suggest that the president should resign or be impeached.
Well, I wouldn't know what framework in terms of our constitution and the law they will depend on for these things that they are saying, because they are undoable. They can't be done because the contributions to the internal election campaign of the ANC is not illegal. is terrible, is just above the board, so there is nothing illegal that has happened. In fact, the ANC has spoken on the matter and said that it will be looking at how do we regularize and formalize internal contestation, including questions of funding for various individual campaigns. So the ANC will respond on this matter. But from where we are seated, there is no criminality that is involved in this. So on what basis do we impeach the president? There is no illegality that is involved in this. How do you impeach? Nobody's money was stolen. In fact, people contributed. They made contributions from their wonderful hearts because they thought they will have somebody who will move South Africa from where we were and from where I'm seated. Yes, the beliefs of those who made contributions have been fulfilled. We have had a president who has instituted investigations into wrongdoings in the country, into those who have looted our public purse. As we sit now, we have had the PIC commission that has rounded its work. Again, we should be thankful to those who made the contributions, that their contributions gave us a human being who, in the form of the president, has been able to make us as a country to look respectable and remove all these matters that tended to cloud the values that we believe in, and also that tended even to doubt whether internal investors could come into the country. They are now coming into the country. They have attended our investment conferences. They are still intent on attending some investment conferences and investing in the country. So you have then the face of the country that is able to attract investment, able to attract a number of people to come into the country to deal with the problems that the country is faced with, unemployment and growing the economy. So, but people did contribute, and it was not illegal. In fact, though, they didn't steal the money that they contributed with. So we think that people are making this very, very small thing a very big thing. Let's allow the president and the presidency to do what we have been put into office to do, serve our people.
Well, but people look at, other reports and they wonder if the president is able to move and do the things that you mentioned he is responsible for, especially within the ANC. It looks like there are forces or individuals within the ANC actually who believe that he's done something wrong and that something must happen, must be done in that regard. And some of them may be NEC members of the ANC. And we, of course, social media is there, it's free for all of us to see what the comments are of some of the prominent ANC members who seem to agree with the views of the public protector and some in the media that there's something wrong with President Ramaphosa.
Well, let me state what was stated by the Women's League yesterday or day before yesterday. I fully support the president. There is nothing wrong with the president. In the internal contestations in the ANC, money does get fundraised. It's a known secret that all those who contested, we had how many people, I think about 7 or so, who contested in 2017 for the presidency. People would have fundraised, including President Ramaphosa. So I'm not aware of any structure of the ANC, by the way, that has said we no longer have any confidence in the president, whether be it the Youth League, whether even be it associated structures, including our alliance partners, the party, COSATU, and including our wonderful Women's League, have said we have every confidence in the president of the ANC and the president of the country. So to answer your question, there are no people with daggers waiting to step the president in the ANC. In the ANC, yes, we do have contestations, but once a person has been elected to lead, we all respect the leadership of that person. We all give that person the space to lead. So I wouldn't say that there are people in the ANC who want to guillotine the president. I've not seen such person. Of course, unlike other organizations, in the ANC we criticize, we are able to say our say and voice our opinions on whatever matter. But that doesn't mean that we are not supportive of any person that we might criticize from time to time.
Staying with corruption for a while, the Special Investigations Unit said that they had investigated over 600 cases and that these cases were not being attended to, and they complained to the president last year already, and he promised to do something about it. Earlier this year, an announcement was made about the tribunal being set up, but it appears to have gone quiet. What is the tribunal all about? When is it going to start its work?
You will know that to strengthen all our structures that are tasked with getting us out of this mess of corruption is not something that just happens on a 24-hour basis. We strengthen these structures, including our NPA, as you will know. We bring new personalities there who are tasked with the task of ensuring that prosecutions happen. We have a new head of the public prosecution now that is doing wonderful work, working together with all other structures that are meant to bring people before our laws, that are meant to do proper investigations, and then on the basis of those investigations, those who are found to have looted from the public purse are then brought before our courts. So we are therefore confident that the strengthening of the institutions that support our democracy have been done by our president. We have strengthened them. We have brought in wonderful human beings, including wonderful prosecutors who will be able to do this wonderful work that all of us as South Africans once done. Bring to book all those that are stealing from the public.
Well, the criticism, Minister Mthembu, is that the talk is there, the institutions have been put in place, but people have not seen any of the prominent people against whom allegations have been made, or allegations of corruption have been made, being arrested or prosecuted. And they wonder why. The conclusion, some form, is that there might be some political interference somewhere, that maybe do not go after the big fish, go after the small fish, because otherwise you'll embarrass the government. How should we understand the president's style and approach of doing things when it comes to matters of this nature?
We can assure you that the president relies on structures that are meant to do justice in these areas of work. The president does not himself becomes the prosecutor. The president does not turn himself into a judge. Secondly, the president does not turn himself into a policeman. He has appointed good, wonderful people that assist with these matters on a day-to-day basis. I've also heard from Advocate Batoy saying that people think that you come to office today, she was speaking about her, that they think that you come to office today and tomorrow you have been able to finalize all the cases that must come before courts. She said herself, these things take time, because if you do rough, shoddy work, people will then not be prosecuted. People will escape from the clutches of the law. You therefore need to do proper work to bring people before our courts, allow our prosecutors to do their job, allow our policemen and women to do their job, so that when those that are supposed to appear before our courts do so, indeed they are watertight cases. They don't escape our justice system because cases have been brought before our courts prematurely. So I believe that Advocate Batoyi is speaking the truth. But what the president has done has indeed appointed people like Advocate Batoyi, has appointed a number of other important people that Advocate Batoyi said, assist me with these prosecutorial arms so that I have the necessary people with the necessary clout to assist me in this work. The president has been very positive in his response.
We will see, and of course, as people say, the taste is in the eating, and the actions will speak for themselves. And the waiting has been relatively long from the perspective of ordinary South Africans. But let's look at the policy choices that government is making now and the approach to dealing with the current economic situation. We'll deal with those questions in a short while when we continue our conversation with the Minister, Jackson Mthembu. Don't go away. We'll be back in a short while.